The sky above the planet Raniok was dark and filled with smoke. The ground was hot, and ash floated in the air like soft gray snow. Adam, a human engineer, stepped carefully over the broken rocks. He wore a heavy exoskeleton suit, which gave him strength to lift and walk for long hours. The suit made his movements slow but strong. His helmet showed red warnings on the screen. The area was unsafe. Still, he walked deeper into the collapsed tunnel. The mission was simple at first. A mining station had sent a signal asking for help. Something had gone wrong. The rescue team came fast. Adam was part of that team. He was not a soldier. He was a builder and a fixer. But he had trained for rescue too. The other team members stayed near the surface. Adam went alone into the broken part of the mine to check for survivors. His boots made a soft thud as he stepped through the dust. The lights on his shoulders lit up the tunnel. There were broken wires and fallen metal beams. The air was dry and thin. He stopped for a moment and listened. The wind made a soft whistle through the cracks, but then he heard a weak sound. It was not a machine. It was a voice. Adam turned his head and followed the sound. He pushed aside a broken panel. Behind it, under a fallen wall, he saw her. An alien woman lay there, half covered by stones and dust. Her skin was pale green, her hair short and silver. She wore a thin blue suit with a broken badge on her chest. Her eyes opened and looked at him. She looked weak, but still alive. Adem knelt beside her and spoke through his suit. "I am here to help you. Can you speak?" The woman nodded slowly. "My name is Tila," she said, her voice dry. Adam checked the rocks on her leg. One large piece had crushed the lower part. Blood had dried around the wound. She could not move it. "You are hurt," he said. "I will get you out." She shook her head. "No, you cannot carry me. The way is too long. The tunnel is not safe. You must go." Adam looked at her. She was scared, not for herself, but for him. "I am not leaving you," he said. "My exosuit can carry you. We will find a way." Tila tried to push his arm weakly. "Please," she said. "If you stay, you will die. You do not know the way out. The ground will fall again. I do not want you to die because of me." Adam touched the side of his helmet and sent a signal, but no answer came. The radio was silent. They were too deep underground. The path was broken in many places. His suit map showed old routes, but some were blocked. He looked back at her. "I know the risk," he said, "but I will not leave anyone behind." She closed her eyes. Her face was full of pain. She had lost hope. Adem moved the rocks from her leg. He was careful. The suit helped him lift the heavy pieces. Tila groaned but stayed still. When the last stone was moved, he saw the damage. Her leg was swollen and bent. She could not walk. He opened a small case on his side and took out a wrap. He tied it around her leg to stop it from moving. Then he picked her up gently. The suit held her weight without trouble, but he could feel the pressure in the joints. The power level was strong, but it would not last forever. Tila looked up at him. "You are strange, human. Why would you do this?" Adam smiled under his helmet. "Because that is what we do. We help others." He began walking back the way he came. The suit made soft clicks with each step. The tunnel walls were cracked. Small stones fell from above. Adam walked quickly but carefully. He checked the map again. The fastest way was blocked by fire earlier. He had to find another path. Tila rested against his chest. Her eyes closed again. After some time, Adam stopped and placed her gently on a flat stone. He gave her water from a small bottle. She drank a little and opened her eyes. "What is your name?" she asked. "Adam. You are brave, Adam." He nodded once and lifted her again. "I only do what is right," he said. As they moved forward, the tunnel became narrow. He had to turn sideways in some places. The suit made it harder, but he kept going. Once, a beam above them fell and hit his shoulder. The suit absorbed the hit, but a red light flashed on the screen. Part of the arm motor was damaged. He would need to be more careful. Hours passed. They came to a small, open space inside the tunnel. Adam stopped and let Tila rest again. He checked the map. They were still far from the surface. The suit power was still good, but he would need to charge it by the next day. He had a small solar cell, but there was no sunlight here. He looked at Tila. She was asleep. Her breathing was slow, but steady. Her face was calm. He sat beside her and leaned back. He let the suit rest for a moment. Adam looked up at the dark ceiling of the tunnel. The mission had changed. Now it was not about fixing broken machines. It was about saving one life, and he would not fail. Tila opened her eyes slowly. The dim lights on Adam's exosuit still glowed softly in the dark tunnel. She felt warmth near her. Adam had placed a thermal cloth around her to keep her body warm. She tried to sit up, but her leg hurt badly. Adam turned his head and saw her awake. "You need to rest," he said calmly. Tila looked at him, her face full of worry. "You are wasting your time," she said. "The way out is long and full of danger. My injury will slow you. Leave me here. Maybe others will come. You still have a chance to live." Adam stood up slowly and checked the suit display. The power level was at 70%. The damaged shoulder motor still worked, but was slower now. "I told you already," he said, looking down at her. "I will not leave you." Tila clenched her hand. "Why? I am not your kind. You owe me nothing." Adam picked up the small water bottle and helped her drink. "I do not care if you are human or not," he said. "You are alive. You are injured. I can help. That is enough." Tila looked down at her broken leg. She had seen people leave others behind during disasters before, but this human was not leaving. He stayed calm. He moved with care. She did not understand him, but she could see he meant what he said. Adam packed the cloth and placed it inside his side bag. Then he bent down, slid his arms under her, and lifted her again. His suit creaked but held strong. Tila felt weightless in his arms, though her pain stayed. She gritted her teeth and held onto his shoulder. The tunnel ahead was narrow but clear, for a few meters. Adam followed the old mining path. His helmet screen showed faded lines where the old lights and cables used to be. Some were still hanging, but most were broken. Tila rested her head against his chest. She spoke again, her voice softer. "You said your name is Adam. Where are you from?" "From a city on Earth called Harad," he replied. "It was full of tall buildings and bright signs. But I liked the rivers the most." "Rivers?" Tila repeated. "We have no rivers like that on my world." Adam looked down at her face. She looked tired, but now she seemed less afraid. "Maybe one day you can visit Earth," he said. She gave a small smile. "Maybe." They moved through the tunnel in silence for some time. Adam's steps echoed softly. Each step pulled power from the suit. He kept checking the power level. It dropped slowly, but it was steady. He believed he could reach the outer passage by the next day. As they turned a corner, the path became uneven. A large part of the wall had fallen, creating a sharp slope. Adam paused. He adjusted his grip on Tila and tested the rocks with his foot. The suit gave him balance, but the slope was loose. He stepped down carefully. The suit's metal boots made crunching sounds on the rocks. Tila held on tightly. One rock slipped. Adam stopped. The whole slope shook for a moment, but then became still again. They continued down, slowly and carefully. After a few minutes, they reached the bottom. Tila breathed deeply. "You are not just strong. You are careful, too." "I had to be," Adam said. "I worked in deep-sea repairs before I joined this team. If you make one mistake underwater, it's over." Tila nodded. She looked around. The tunnel here was wider. Parts of the ceiling were cracked, but no fresh damage was visible. Adam found a safe flat stone and set Tila down again. He gave her a small packet of dry food. She ate slowly, her hand shaking a little. He also drank some water and leaned back, against the wall. His suit made quiet sounds as it cooled. Tila looked at him. Back in the city, I worked as a sky mapper. I used star maps to guide our mining ships. I always dreamed of visiting the stars myself, but I stayed to help my people. Adam listened without speaking. She continued. When the tunnel broke, I was leading a check team. We were close to finishing our shift. Then the explosion came. Others ran. I could not move. I thought that was the end. But it was not, Adam said. No, because of you, she replied. They sat in silence for a while. The tunnel was quiet. The only sound was the faint hum from Adam's suit. Tila looked at him again. If something happens to you, what will your people think? Will they say you made a mistake? They might, Adam said, but I do not care what they say. I only care about doing the right thing. She closed her eyes again. You are strange, but good. Adam smiled to himself. He stood up and stretched his arms. The suit's joints made soft clicks. He checked the path ahead on the map. There was an old lift tunnel not far from here. It was broken, but maybe there was another way up through it. He lifted Tila again and continued walking. After some time, they passed an old warning sign, written in both human and Voron script. It said the area ahead was unstable. Adem slowed down. He turned on the forward scanner. It showed the ground ahead was weak. He stepped carefully. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the tunnel. A small part of the ceiling behind them collapsed. Dust filled the air. Tila looked back. That was close. Yes, Adam said. We must not stop now. He walked faster, but still with care. The scanner showed a stronger surface ahead. He moved to it and found a spot to rest. Tila looked up at him again. I know you will not listen, but I must say it again. If it becomes too hard, you must leave me. I will not blame you. Adam looked down at her. His face was calm. I will carry you until we both see the sky again. Tila said nothing more. She only closed her eyes and rested against him. Adam looked ahead into the shadows. The journey was not over, but he would not give up. The tunnel ended in a wide opening filled with thick gray ash. Adam stepped out slowly, holding Tila close in his arms. The wind outside was dry and hot. Smoke moved across the rocky ground. The sky above was dark, not because it was night, but because ash clouds covered the sun. The air smelled of burnt metal and dust. A faint red glow came from the far mountains. The volcano in the distance had started to wake again. Adam turned his head, looking in all directions. The land was broken. Trees were burned. Some still stood like black sticks. The map on his helmet showed a rescue point 30 kilometers north. The main path was gone. Only side paths remained, and they were rough. Tila stirred in his arms. She coughed once and opened her eyes. Where are we? She asked, her voice dry. Outside the mine, Adam answered. But we are not safe yet. He gave her a water bottle. She drank slowly. Her face looked tired, but there was still light in her eyes. Adam walked forward, the exoskeleton helping him step over broken stones. The ground was not flat. There were sharp edges and deep cracks. Each step needed care. The suit adjusted his balance each time. Tila held on, one arm around his neck. She was light, but the long journey was starting to show on the power display. The sun tried to shine through the clouds, but the sky stayed gray. Ash rained down like soft powder. Adam pulled a cover over Tila's head to protect her. Then he turned on the suit's air filter and covered her face with a small mask. They moved across the land, slowly but without stopping. After an hour, the temperature rose. Heat from the volcano spread through the air. Adam's suit gave a warning. The cooling system was working hard. Sweat formed on his face under the helmet. He stopped under a large rock that gave a little shade. It was the only safe place for now. He placed Tila down carefully and checked the suit. The core temperature was high. If it rose more, the suit would slow down. Tila looked at him. "You are tired." "I am fine," he said. "The suit needs a short rest." She looked up at the ash sky. "This planet was once beautiful," she said. "Green trees, blue rivers, open skies. Now it is full of smoke and fire." Adam sat beside her and opened a food packet. He handed half to her. "Do you miss it?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "But I try to remember the good parts. That keeps me strong." They ate in silence. The wind blew ash across the rocks. The suit cooling system made a low hum as it worked. Adam checked the map again. If they kept moving, they could reach the old supply station by night. Tila looked at him again. "You can leave me here. Find help and come back." "No," Adam said. "If I leave you, you may not be alive when I return. We stay together." She looked down. "You are strange, Adam. You risk everything for someone you just met." Adam stood up and lifted her again. "You are someone who needs help. That is enough for me." They continued moving across the land. The wind became stronger. Ash flew into the air. Adam turned his head to protect Tila. His suit lights cut through the dust. He followed the rocks and old markings on the ground. These signs were made by workers long ago. After some time, they reached a dry riverbed. It was wide and full of sharp stones. The other side was higher ground. Adam needed to cross it before dark. He stepped down into the riverbed. The suit helped him keep balance. Some stones slipped under his feet, but he did not fall. Halfway across, Tila coughed again. Adam stopped and adjusted her mask. "Are you all right?" "Yes," she said. "I am only tired." He kept moving. The climb up the other side was steep. The suit made heavy sounds as it pulled them up. His legs felt slow, and his arms ached. But he did not stop. When he reached the top, the suit gave another warning. The power core was down to 50%. Adam placed Tila under a large stone arch. It gave shade from the ash-filled wind. Tila looked at his face. It was covered in sweat. His eyes looked tired, but focused. "You should rest," she said. "I will rest when we are safe." She looked at the suit. "Will it last?" Adam paused for a moment. "It will last as long as it must." He removed the solar cloth from his bag and placed it on a flat rock. The cloth would collect some energy from the sky, even through ash clouds. It was slow, but better than nothing. Tila closed her eyes and rested. Adam stood near, watching the land. The volcano in the distance sent smoke into the sky. He knew time was short. The rescue team may still be searching, but signals could not reach them here. As night came, the sky turned darker. Ash still fell, but the wind was softer. Adam kept the cloth around Tila and checked the suit. The power had increased by a small amount. He saved every bit he could. He sat beside Tila and looked at her sleeping face. She had not given up, even with pain. She had not cried or shouted. She had stayed calm. He respected that. Adam looked up at the stars. Only one or two were visible, through the clouds. He remembered his training. They had told him rescue missions were hard, but they had not told him how heavy one life could feel when carried across a world. Still, he did not regret anything. He looked at the power level again. Tomorrow, they would move early. He would carry her as far as he had to. When morning came, the sky was still dark with ash. The wind had slowed, but the ground was cold. Adam stood quietly near the rock where Tila was sleeping. The solar cloth had charged a little energy through the night. The suit's power had risen only by a few points. It was not much, but it gave him some hope. Tila opened her eyes and looked around. Her voice was soft. "Are we moving today?" "Yes," Autumn said. "We have a long path ahead." He packed the solar cloth, helped her drink some water, then lifted her gently into his arms. The suit adjusted to her weight, and the soft whir of its motors started again. Tila wrapped her arms around his neck and rested her head against his. Chest Adam checked the map. The rescue point was still far. A broken canyon stood between them and the next safe ground. The main bridge shown on the map had been destroyed. There was no other clear way. He would have to climb down the canyon, cross the bottom, and climb back up with Tila in his arms. He began walking toward the canyon. The ground was cracked and scattered with burnt tree roots. His boots stepped over sharp stones and dry ash. The suit moved slowly but steady. Every time the ground became uneven, the suit's legs adjusted to keep him balanced. As they walked, Tila looked up at the sky. "I used to watch the stars from my roof," she said. "I loved the feeling that I was small under the sky. But I also felt free." Adam glanced down at her. "You will watch the stars again, when this is over." She gave a small nod. After 2 hours, they reached the edge of the canyon. The ground fell away in a steep drop. Far below, dirty water flowed between large rocks. The canyon walls were cracked and wet. The broken bridge lay in pieces. Rusted cables hung across the gap like broken threads. Adam looked for a way down. On the left side, the wall sloped a little. There were handholds and small ledges. It would not be easy, but it was possible. He adjusted his grip on Tila and began the descent. The suit's arms and legs moved carefully. The wall was slippery. Once a stone broke under his foot, but the suit kept balance. Tila held on tight. Her face was calm, but her hands shook slightly. After a long climb, they reached the bottom. The air here was damp and smelled like wet soil. The water in the canyon moved slowly, but covered the path ahead. Adam looked at it. The suit could walk through water, but it would use more power. The sensors checked the depth. It reached just below his knees. He stepped into the water. The cold touched the suit's legs, and the motors gave a small hum. The water pushed against him, but he kept moving. Tila shivered slightly in his arms. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I am making this harder for you." "You are not," Adam said. "I chose this. I do not regret it." The water pulled at him with every step. The suit moved slower now. The current tried to turn his body, but the exoskeleton fought back. His arms ached, but he did not stop. He kept walking through the water, holding Tila close to his chest. After 30 minutes, they reached the far side of the canyon. The wall here was even steeper than the first. Adam studied it. There was a path going up through narrow ledges and broken stones. It looked dangerous, but there was no other way. He began to climb. This time, the suit groaned with each step. The wet motors moved with effort. His arms felt heavy, and the weight of Tila pressed harder against his chest. But he did not let go. One step at a time, he moved upward. Twice he slipped, but caught a hold before falling. Dust fell from above, and stones broke under his boots. Still, he climbed. Halfway up, the suit gave a loud warning beep. Power level had dropped to 30%. He stopped on a flat ledge and rested for a moment. He looked down at Tila. Her eyes were open. She had seen the warning too. "You must stop," she said. "I can hold on to the ledge while you climb up and get help." "No," Adam replied. "You are staying with me." "The suit is too weak. If it stops, we both fall." "I am not leaving you," he said again. Tila did not speak after that. She only rested her head against his chest and closed her eyes. Adam climbed the last part of the wall with slow, careful movements. The suit's joints moved with heavy sounds. Every lift of his leg felt like lifting stone, but he did not let go. He reached the top, pulled himself over the edge, and lay still for a moment. The wind touched his face. The air was cool and fresh. Tila opened her eyes and looked up at the sky. "We made it," she whispered. "Yes," Adam said. He sat up, placed her on a soft patch of grass, and checked the suit again. Power was low, but the system was still stable. He opened his pack and took out the solar cloth. He placed it on a rock to catch what little light came through the ash clouds. Tila reached out and touched his arm. "You risked everything, for me." Adam looked at her with calm eyes. "Your life matters." She held his hand gently. "Thank you." They sat together in silence. The water in the canyon below made soft sounds as it flowed. The wind moved through the dry grass. Above them, the ash clouds broke for a moment, and a small beam of sunlight touched the ground. Adam looked at the sky and whispered to himself, "We keep going." The sky above was still dark, but the ash had grown thinner. A soft breeze moved across the dry ground. Adam sat near the edge of the canyon, watching the power level on his suit. It had charged a little from the solar cloth, just enough for him to continue walking. Not much, but enough to move again. Tila lay beside the large stone, resting with her eyes closed. Her leg was wrapped tightly. The pain had not gone, but she stayed quiet. Her face was calm. She breathed slowly and deeply. Adam checked the map. The next safe spot was a small cave marked by the old mining team. It was not far, maybe 4 kilometers. If they reached it before nightfall, they could rest there without fear of falling ash or storm winds. He folded the solar cloth, packed it carefully, and then knelt beside Tila. "It is time," he said softly. Tila opened her eyes and gave a small nod. Adam lifted her gently, the suit shifting to balance the weight. Then he began walking again. The wind was cool now, and the sun tried to break through the clouds. A few weak rays touched the ground, lighting the burnt rocks and dry soil. They walked in silence. Tila's arms rested around his neck. Her head leaned against his chest. Adam moved with steady steps. His eyes stayed on the path, but his thoughts wandered. He remembered a day long ago back on Earth. A small child had fallen into a river near the edge of his city. People had shouted, but no one moved. Adam had jumped in without thinking. He had pulled the child out, and the crowd had clapped. But Adam had felt no pride. He had only done what felt right. That moment had stayed with him. Now, holding Tila in his arms, he felt the same. Not pride, just purpose. After 2 hours, they reached the cave. It was small, hidden behind a wall of dry vines and ash-covered stones. Adam pushed aside the cover and stepped inside. The air was cool and dry. The floor was flat. A few old supply boxes were stacked in one corner. He placed Tila down on a soft patch of ground and checked the supplies. There was a light fire starter, a small cooking pot, and 2 sealed food packets. The mining crew had left them long ago in case of need. Adam opened one packet and gave half to Tila. She ate slowly. "Thank you," she said. "You keep saving me." Adam smiled a little. "You are strong too. You have not given up." Tila looked at the cave wall. Small marks were carved into the stone. Shapes of stars, planets, and moons. Her eyes widened. "These are Voran symbols. Someone from my people came here before." Adam moved closer and looked at the carvings. They were old but still clear. A star map showing the nearby skies of this planet. "You understand them?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "I used to draw maps like this." Adam sat beside her, the firelight warming his face. "Tell me about your world," he said. Tila smiled gently. "It is smaller than Earth. The skies are filled with twin moons. We live in floating homes that move with the wind. At night, we gather on rooftops to watch the stars. Children learn to read the sky before they learn to write. Our stories come from the stars. Adam listened quietly. I would like to see your world someday, he said. Tila looked at him. If you come, I will show you the sky garden. It is the highest point. From there, you can see both moons rising at once. Adam nodded. Then I will come. The fire crackled softly. Shadows danced on the stone walls. Tila leaned back and closed her eyes. Her face was peaceful. You miss your home? She asked. Adam looked into the flames. Yes, he said. But Earth changed. Cities grew taller. Rivers became dirtier. I left to find something better. I thought maybe the stars had more to offer. Did you find it? She asked. Adam looked at her. Not yet, but maybe I am closer now. Tila gave a small smile. I never thought I would be saved by a human. I never thought I would carry a star mapper across a dead world, Adam said. They both laughed quietly. It was the first time they had laughed since the journey began. Night came quickly. The wind outside picked up speed. Ash blew across the land again. But inside the cave, it was quiet and warm. Adam checked the suit once more. The power level was still low, but steady. He connected it to the small charger in the cave, hoping to get a little more by morning. Tila had fallen asleep. Her breathing was soft. Her hands rested on her chest. Adam placed his jacket over her to keep her warm. He sat by the cave entrance and looked out. In the far distance, the volcano sent smoke into the sky. But there was no fire tonight. The stars tried to peek through the ash clouds. One or two shone dimly. Adam stared at them. He did not know what would happen tomorrow. The path ahead was still long. The suit was growing weaker, but he knew one thing. He would keep walking. He would carry her until they reached the sky again. When the first light came, the cave was quiet. A soft wind passed through the entrance. The fire had turned to cold ash, and the ground was cool. Adam sat near the wall, his back resting against stone. His eyes opened slowly. He had slept only a few hours, but it was enough to keep moving. He stood and checked the suit. The small charger had given a little more power during the night. Not much, but maybe just enough for one last climb. He looked at the map again. The rescue signal tower was now only 5 kilometers away, standing on top of a high hill. From that tower, he could send a full signal to the human and Voran teams waiting far away. He turned to Tila. She was still asleep, her face calm under the jacket he had placed on her. He walked over and knelt beside her. It is morning, he said softly. Tila opened her eyes and gave a slow nod. Is this the last part? She asked. Yes, Adam said. Just one more hill, then the tower. She looked at his face. It was tired, but still calm. Will the suit make it? She asked. Adam did not answer right away. He looked at the power level on his arm screen. It blinked yellow. Less than 20% remained. It will, he said. Tila nodded and reached out her arm. Adam lifted her again. The suit groaned a little under the weight, but it held. The motors adjusted. The screen showed the power level dropping slowly. They stepped out of the cave. The sky above was still gray, but the ash had slowed. A weak sun shone behind the clouds. In the far distance, the tall metal tower stood like a finger pointing to the sky. It was the last hope. The ground was not smooth anymore. Small hills rose and fell, and the earth was cracked in many places. Adam walked carefully, stepping over sharp stones. His eyes stayed on the tower. Tila rested her head on his chest. She said nothing now. Her body was weak, and her mind was tired, but her spirit stayed strong. She trusted him. They moved slowly. The suit took careful steps. Each movement used power. The yellow light blinked again. Adam ignored it. After 1 hour, they reached the base of the last hill. It was wide and steep, with patches of dry grass and black stones. The path was rough. Old mining marks were still visible on the rocks. Adam looked up at the top. The tower stood straight, its light blinking faintly. Tila opened her eyes and saw, "The climb ahead. You can leave me here," she said softly. "Climb alone and send the signal." "No," Adam said. "We finish this together." She closed her eyes again. "I trust you." Adam placed one foot on the slope and began to climb. The suit adjusted quickly, but the power dropped faster. The motors made low sounds. His breathing grew heavier. The hill pulled at his legs like thick chains, but he kept going. Each step felt heavier than the last. His arms were tired. His back ached. The suit gave another warning. 15% power. He reached a large stone and rested there for a moment. Tila looked up at him. "You do not have to prove anything," she said. "I am not proving anything," Adam replied. "I am finishing what I started." He lifted her again and kept climbing. The wind picked up. Dust flew across the rocks. The hill became steeper. The suit struggled, but it did not stop. Adam leaned forward with each step. The screen showed 12% power. At one point, the ground broke under his foot. He slipped, and small rocks rolled down the hill. But the suit's arm held strong. He regained balance and moved on. Tila reached up and wiped sweat from his face with her hand. "You have done more than anyone else ever would," she said. "You have given everything." Adam looked at her. "You are still alive. That is all that matters." The top was close now. The tower's base could be seen clearly. The blinking light on its side was red. Waiting for activation. 10% power. Adam took another step. The suit groaned. The motors slowed. 8%. The wind howled louder. The clouds above turned darker. A soft rumble came from the far volcano. 6%. Adam reached the last few meters. His legs were shaking. His arms were stiff. The suit's system blinked red now, 5%. He reached the tower base. A control panel stood near the side. It was covered in dust, but still worked. Adam placed Tila down gently on the ground. Then he touched the panel and opened the signal screen. He entered the emergency code. The tower lights turned blue. A loud sound rang through the air. A signal beam shot into the sky, cutting through the clouds. The screen showed a message. Rescue signal received. Help on the way. Tila looked up at the sky. "It worked," she said. Adam sat beside her. His arms dropped to his sides. The suit's screen blinked once more. Power level, 3%. He removed his helmet. Fresh wind touched his face. He breathed deeply. Tila reached out and held his hand. "You carried me through fire, water, and stone," she said. "You gave me life." Adam looked at her. "You gave me something, too." "What did I give you?" "Purpose." They sat together, in silence as the tower light blinked in the sky. Help was coming. They had made it. Together. The rescue signal tower kept blinking. Its light turned from red to green. A loud tone echoed every few seconds across the land. It meant someone had heard them. Help was on the way. Adam sat on the ground near the tower with his back resting, against the metal. The exoskeleton suit had gone silent. Its power was almost gone. Only one small light still glowed on his wrist screen. Tila lay beside him. Her eyes stayed open, but her body was still weak. She turned her head and looked at the sky. The clouds above were slowly clearing. A thin line of blue appeared in the west. "How long will they take to come?" she asked softly. Adam checked the signal panel. "Less than an hour," he said. The nearest skyship was already in the air. The signal reached them. "They are coming straight here." Tila gave a small nod. "I still feel like this is a dream," she said. It is real, Adam replied. You are safe now. Tila reached out and held his hand. Her fingers were cold, but her grip was gentle. You could have left me, she said. I told you to leave me. I know, Adam said, but I chose not to. Why? Adam did not speak for a moment. He looked at the sky. When I joined the Earth-Voran peace team, they told us to protect all life. They told us to never leave anyone behind. I believed in that. And when I saw you lying in that field, hurt and alone, I knew I could not walk away. Tila closed her eyes for a moment. You gave me more than protection, she said. Adam smiled. Maybe you gave me something too, something I had forgotten. What is that? Hope. A deep sound came from above. The wind changed. Both of them looked up. A silver skyship appeared between the clouds. It had long wings and round engines that glowed with soft blue light. The Earth-Voran rescue symbol was painted on the side. The ship moved in a slow circle above the tower. Then it lowered closer to the ground. A beam of light scanned the area. It stopped when it reached Adam and Tila. A voice came from the skyship. Survivors found. Preparing to land. Adam felt his heart grow lighter. After all the pain and struggle, someone had finally come. The ship lowered onto the flat space beside the hill. Dust rose into the air. A side door opened and a ramp came down. 3 people ran out. 2 wore rescue suits and 1 wore a medic badge. Are you Adam from Unit 9? The first rescuer asked. Yes, Adam said. Is she the Voran ambassador's daughter? Yes. Her name is Tila. She is hurt but alive. The medic knelt beside Tila and checked her vitals. She is weak but stable, the medic said. We will carry her inside. No, Tila said softly. He carried me here. Let him help one last time. The medic looked at Adam and nodded. Adam smiled and lifted Tila once more. The exosuit motors groaned but did not stop. Slowly, he carried her up the ramp into the ship. Inside the ship, the room was warm and quiet. Soft lights glowed on the walls. A healing bed was ready. Adam placed Tila down carefully. The medic connected wires and started the scans. She will be fine, the medic said. Just needs rest, water, and some care. Adam sat on the bench beside her. His whole body was sore, but he felt peace inside. A rescue officer entered the room. We have been searching for you for days, he said. The ash storm made it hard to find signals, but your emergency beacon saved both of you. Adam nodded. I'm glad it worked. You crossed the fire plains, the broken canyon, and the Black Ridge, the officer said. How did you carry her so far? With the exosuit, Adam said. And a promise. The officer looked at him with respect. We will write your report into the Earth-Voran records. This story will not be forgotten. I didn't do it for records, Adam said. I did it because it was right. The officer nodded again and left the room. Tila opened her eyes and looked at him. Will you stay until I recover? She asked. I will stay as long as you want, Adam replied. Outside, the skyship rose again. It flew across the open sky, leaving the volcano behind. Inside, peace had returned. Adam sat beside Tila and held her hand. For 3 days he had walked across danger, using the last power of a metal suit. He had faced fire, ash, and storm, but in the end, he had saved her. Not just because she was important, but because she was someone he could not leave behind.